What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Sportskeeda's The Debrief. I am your host, Jose G. Next to me is the top Chico himself, Rico El Glorioso, and we're bringing you everything you need to know on AEW and on NXT. And on the heels of a huge AEW day tonight, or today, we didn't get Paul Wight on AEW, Rico.
No, man. We have the Big Show on TNT, but the last thing we got today was the Big Show himself. As we broke it earlier today, Paul Wight has officially signed with AEW. We were hoping to hear from him tonight, but it looks like they were a little pressed for time. Looks like we're getting an announcement next week with Paul Wight. However, we did get some more details on what he's going to be doing. He is actually going to be commentating alongside Tony Schiavone for AEW's new Monday show on YouTube called Dark Elevation. So that's going to premiere on Monday, March 15th, but we're going to hear from the man, the Big Show, the giant Paul Wight next week.
Man, that news just came out of surprise out of nowhere, man. It just dominated left and right. All the news media, it was just everywhere. So it caught me by surprise. I can't wait. We're going to talk a lot about it today. But guys, before we get started with tonight's show, make sure you show us some love by hitting the like button, the share button. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you share in your favorite wrestling group. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and also hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never, ever miss a live stream. And follow us on all social media so that way you're up to date on everything wrestling. So Rico, let's jump off first with AEW, because I thought we were going to get a huge, because of Paul Wight. I thought it's going to be like that type of must-watch episode. But honestly, besides the main event, it just kind of fell flat on his face for me today.
What I feel, it's all counter programming, Jose, because next week is Crossroads to Revolution. So next week will be the go home show to AEW's Revolution. Yet we know at the same time we have a couple of tag team title matches that's going to be taking place on NXT. So I'm sure that's the Paul Wight announcement is just adding a little bit more to what's going to happen to next week. So it felt like they're really saving all of those big moments for next week to lead into Revolution. And part of it is starting off tonight. We had a one-on-one match between Jon Moxley and the Hollywood hunk Dolph Ziggler. Ryan Nemeth.
Dolph Ziggler. I was telling my wife, I'm like, oh babe, that's that's Dolph Ziggler's brother. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. It's like a carbon copy of him on AEW.
Yeah.
It's when you ordered Wish from the Dolph Ziggler version of Wish.
That's what we get. We get Ryan Nemeth. And he actually got to put in a bit of offense against Jon Moxley, but we knew it was gonna happen. He gets hit with the paradigm shift, but it was really for the end of the match where Jon Moxley grabs a chair, turns it backwards, like he's like a school teacher trying to be cool and get ready to talk to you. And he grabs a mic and he lets everybody know that he talks about the marks and scars. It's really setting up the exploding barbed wire death match that he has coming forward at Revolution against Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. And he talks about how he's addicted to this. He's addicted to wrestling. He's addicted to the pain, the violence. That's why he is in matches like this. And he's going to keep giving it all. He needs to get that adrenaline. But at the end of the day, he just wants everybody to know that when it's all said and done, he wants everybody to know that he gave it his everything. So it was another one of those, realistic blending in with the storyline kind of promos from Jon Moxley.
Also, this is kind of like maybe a little write-off for him since, Renee Paquette's about to give birth.
Yeah.
But also, what's the information on Jon Moxley's contract right now? Because he's approaching 2 years with AEW. Do you know how long that contract is?
I don't have it off the top. I would assume you would think it's going to be something like 3 or 5 years, considering what they kind of been doing with WWE.
So this isn't like a send-off. This is just pretty much like, I'm just going to take some time off to take care of my baby, kind of like what Seth Rollins did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why we even saw later on when Alex Marvez was interviewing Don Callis and Kenny Omega, they're working on the Moxley Extermination Chamber, something that they're going to be debuting in that death match. So, yeah, so it's really, building up our support for Jon Moxley he's gonna lose this match. Kenny Omega is not gonna drop the belt as he's on this quest for gold. But just like you said, I think this is a great way to really, write him off for a little bit so he can spend time with his wife Renee as they welcome their new baby girl.
So just reading a comment here from Frank Rivera Jr. He's saying, y'all gonna trash AEW like Russo does on Monday Night Raw? Nah, man, we're not in the business. Listen, what Russo does is art. I can't do what Russo does. All I can do is just bring you guys the facts and try to bring it in an entertaining way. We kind of bring out what's, the highs and lows for us. But by all means, we do not trash any of the shows. We criticize a little bit where they can improve, but we definitely don't trash here.
Oh yeah, well here we clearly love wrestling, and we try to take it in all the forms that we can, whether it's AEW, WWE, and now we're starting to become more involved with New Japan, especially when you have again matches like Jon Moxley versus Kenta, which I think happens in a couple days anyway. So we just take everything as it comes in and we just analyze it. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely, man. But let's move on, man, because there was a it was named a Revolution warm-up, kind of a little face-off here at the end, which, dude, I was kind of entertained by this because Darby Allin rappelled his way down, and then we got to see a little face-off, a little payback from Sting. And let me tell you, I knock on Sting all the time. Every week we talk about Sting, but this week I got to give credit where credit's due. Sting impressed me. He looked like he did not miss a step.
He looks like TNA's Sting, which is exactly what he is now at this point. But just like Jose said, this was a Revolution warm-up. We had Team Taz going up against the Varsity Blondes, getting confused with the other blonde and Ryan Nemeth from earlier, which was clearly going to be an easy win for Team Taz with Brian Cage hitting the drill clog in the win. But we got the lights cut off. The video comes on. Sting finds Darby Allin in the desert. Apparently, that's where the SUV that dragged the body bag with Darby in it landed. You see Sting take him out of the body bag. Darby smiles. Lights cut off. The snow starts falling. It's Sting! And he brings a body bag, and you think, oh, he's bringing in Darby? Like, why? He's your boy. Why are you bringing him in a body bag? It turns out it was Hook. It was Taz's son, Hook. He winds up starting to attack. Before the attack starts, he points up to the rafters, and that's when we get Darby Allin rappelling down like old school Sting with his skateboard, and they started laying out Team Taz. And last week we had Brian Cage hit a powerbomb on Sting. This time Sting hits the Stinger Splash and a Scorpion Death Drop on the Machine Brian Cage. Finally getting some retribution for what happened last week. And we still got 2 weeks to go. So this is the kind of involvement we wanted to see from Sting, as opposed to the last 3 weeks being just Sting talking, Team Taz interrupts, they face off, nothing happens. Now we're starting to get more physical. Now we've officially have Sting actually doing moves on to other people. So we're getting that much closer to getting the official in-ring debut, even though it's going to be in a street fight, of Sting here on AEW. It gave me like throwback vibes,
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad that we didn't get to see Sting in an altercation every single week. As much as I gave flack to Sting about this, I think this was the right move, the right timing. 2 weeks away from Revolution, get that payback, look good, put in some moves. Yeah, man. I thought he looked good tonight. I can't take it away from him. He looked good. And Vincent Glorioso, because someone who's sharing your namesake here, he's saying that AEW reminds him of 2000's Monday Night Nitro.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just so crazy to see. Yeah, it's still having Sting and Jake the Snake and Tully Blanchard that are still around and still active. Still crazy. Answering
some of your questions from the YouTube side, Wrestling Rebellion Highlights is asking, hey, buddy, NXT have their second brand. Is that true? Or their second brand is NXT UK, but there are talks of NXT Asia and NXT Latin America, but nothing has been, they haven't pulled the trigger yet because of COVID and the pandemic. So we will definitely keep that news up to you guys up to par. But what else happened on Dynamite, bro?
So we did get an interview with Tony Schiavone interviewing Miro, Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford. Just kind of recapping the situation from the wedding that happened at Beach Break, which got trashed by Charles the Butler and Orange Cassidy, where this was really about Miro setting up this feud. And he even said, like, oh, look how sad that the couple are. They couldn't even go on their honeymoon. But Charles, like, I'll handle Orange Cassidy later, but Charles, I want you back. Like he polished my cars, he folded my laundry, he polished my kettlebells. I can't forget, but I can forgive, and I want you back. And then Tony Schiavone gets a note, and it has that old school, which I even did for my crush in 3rd grade. But it was essentially, will you face us at Revolution? Why? And maybe circle one, and then XOXO, like hugs and kisses.
That was hilarious. That was really funny when I saw that.
Which is perfect. It's perfect for the characters of Orange Cassidy and Charles the Butler, aka Chucky T.
That's why Orange Cassidy's a bad influence on you, Charles.
You got to be a man. You're acting childish. Look at this. This is childish. And then he takes the note in his mouth, chews it up, and then spits it out. But it was confirmed later on. We are going to get the tag team match. Miro and Kasabian.
Way to stay COVID compliant, huh?
Right, and Tony's getting a little up there, so you need to be careful around him, Miro. The tag match is going to happen. Orange Cassidy and Charles the Butler, Chucky T, going up against Miro and Kip Sabian at Revolution.
Just a quick reminder, everyone, if you guys are just tuning in, please hit that like button, that share button. Make sure you share. If you're watching on Facebook, share in your favorite wrestling group. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe button, and follow us on all social media so you never, ever miss a live update, a live stream, or a post or breaking news stories here on Sportskeeda. Sorry about that, Rico. Got to plug it in.
No, you got to do it, man. Just like you got to plug in some friendship. We have a beautiful friendship, but there's not a big friendship going on between Brandon Cutler and Jake Hager, considering the attacks on Brandon Cutler that happened last week. He was trying to get a measure of retribution too. Didn't work out for the D&D guy. He's squashed by Jake Hager.
Yo, Brandon, is that the first time he comes out with that gimmick with the dragon helmet looking like Drago?
No, it's because you haven't been seeing him on Dark.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I haven't really been watching Dark at all.
Yeah. He got the mask is not fairly recent. He's had it for a while, but now it's become more prevalent as a part of his character. When we had the dragon versus dinosaur match not too long ago. But here, it was really to set up, again, more of the feud between Young Bucks and MJF and Chris Jericho, because after the match, Inner Circle comes out beating up Brandon Cutler, except for MJF and Chris Jericho. And as the Young Bucks come out to make the save, they challenge him, say, you know what? We don't have to wait till Revolution. Let's do it tonight. But it cuts to outside. Chris Jericho and MJF have a bloodied up Papa Buck. They took him out after the confrontation that happened last week. He was there again this week. He had, blood on his head, and they decided to slam his head against the back of a truck that had the faces of Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, which they actually tied it in from BTE because it showed a video of last week with his parent when the parents finally came down to AEW to watch it because they're from California, and they're talking about the truck like, oh yeah, oh my god, like look at the faces. They took pictures of the back of the truck with their faces on it, and now it's here tonight where Papa Buck gets his head slammed into it. Young Bucks try to make the save. But MJF and Jericho get an SUV and they drive away. So looks like we're adding even more personal, reasons for this match, for the AEW Tag Team Championship match that we are going to get at Revolution between Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, and MJF.
And I think that's something that we've been missing, even though that AEW has that deep, deep tag team division. I think the lack of a real true story was lacking on the AEW tag team division, whereas with this storyline currently, it's really bringing me in. Maybe because I'm a little partial to Proud and Powerful, but still, I feel like compared to some of the, even the one with FTR, their rivalry with FTR, it didn't bring me in, even though that is a dream match everybody wanted to have. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm more invested in this story as opposed to their rivalry and feud with FTR.
Yeah, because it's getting more personal, and just seeing how these different storylines are turning in, because Inner Circle is still dealing with Sammy Guevara, and the Young Bucks are still dealing with their thing with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So there's like these outside influences, but these two teams fighting for this AEW championship, like that is still paramount for them, and you're making it even more personal with this. So yeah, this kind of personal reasons is needed. It gets you more buy-in, because the other tag team match that we really have being focused on is FTR and Jurassic Express, and that's more of a like one-upsmanship, especially now that they're bringing Tully Blanchard to make it a 6-man tag at Revolution. So it's harder to bring some of these people into the storyline. So yeah, this what happened today really helps lend itself to this feud. Hopefully we can get more of this in future feuds going forward, because like you're saying, other than that, doesn't really pull you into much. So we'll see how this tag team championship match plays out at Revolution.
Just reading some of your guys' comments. We have a Clyde Butler here. He's asking, y'all just talking or showing some wrestling? Y'all got 68 viewers on Facebook. What are y'all doing here? Well, Clyde, we're just running down both shows for the audience. Just kind of talking about what happened on both shows and just giving our take on that. Adrian Harper Jr. saying, old school wrestling is the best. I started watching Bobo Brazil, the original Chic Detroit, big time wrestling, them champion, Georgia Championship Wrestling. Nice. Adrian, if you like old school wrestling, you will love AEW just because of the type of feel it is. It's very old school. But moving on to our next match, Big Money Carney. What's going on with Big Money? Matt Hardy.
Yeah, we saw the big money matchup that's coming up at Revolution between Hangman Adam Page and Big Money Matt Hardy, where the winner gets the loser's Q1 of 2021's earnings because of all the shenanigans that happened with Matt Hardy and the contract signing. But in this one, it was Hangman Adam Page versus Isaiah Cassidy of the Private Party. Of course, Hangman did get the win using the Deadeye, which we haven't seen in a while. He's usually been using the Buckshot Lariat. But of course, throughout the match, Matt Hardy was trying to get involved, trying to help out Isaiah Cassidy. He gets ejected from ringside, and the Dark Order, who are now in good graces with Hangman, we saw it on BTE. He accepted their friendship, so they're not doing anything serious. They're not trying to sign him. They're friends, so they come out to the side, to support Hangman for the match. Hangman gets the win. However, after the match, Matt Hardy on the mic tells Hangman, "Oh, so you decided to side with the Dark Order instead of me? I'm going to hurt every single one in the Dark Order that you love and care about." And next thing we see Matt Hardy come out from one of the tunnels with 5 and throws him from the stage through a set of tables down below. So looks like this feud is going to start getting a little bit more personal. And who knows who Matt Hardy's going to attack next? Is it going to be, John Silver, Alex Reynolds? We're going to have to wait and see next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, next week's the go-home show, so they better bring out the big guns, man.
Yeah, and speaking of big guns, there is going to be an announcement tomorrow at 7 p.m. AEW Games. They're going to finally give us some more information. Ooh. Hopefully, we're going to find out a release date for the game. We got a nice trailer of it last time. The last time they did an announcement, which I thought was hilarious. Everybody pretending to be Steve Jobs. I thought it was fantastic. I'm excited to see what they're going to do for this announcement. I'm looking forward to this game. When it comes out, I'm going to get it day one.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to broadcast it all over the place.
Got to stream it.
Absolutely.
But of course, this leads us into the next match, which is part of the United States bracket for the AEW Women's World Championship.
And this was a semifinal match, I understand, right?
This is a semifinal match, yes, because the winner between this match, Britt Baker and the native beast Nyla Rose, this is our Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Nyla Rose will be facing the winner of next week's match between Riho and Thunder Rosa for the spot, to get the chance at Shida at Revolution. It was also announced that Yuka Sakazaki and Ryu Mizunami won their matches, so they are going to be facing off in the Japan bracket finals on Bleacher Report Sunday at 7 p.m., which is also going to host a 6-women tag match between Hikaru Shida, Mei Suruga, Rin Kadokura versus Emi Sakura, Veni, and Maki Ito. And from what I've been hearing and from what they've been saying online, supposedly Shida is actually the one that it booked the Japanese bracket for this tournament because she knew these women. She wanted to put them on a stage that they can be seen. So she's really been the one that's been helping alongside Kenny Omega set up this tournament. So it's great to see what she's been doing and being able to broadcast these women and their talent. And it looks like we are going to be getting Nyla Rose in the U.S. bracket finals, as she was able to power out of the lockjaw twice. Even though Britt Baker did kick out of one beast bomb, she went for another thrust kick that got reversed into a second beast bomb, and she was not able to get out of that one. Nyla Rose advances.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Nyla Rose going to the final.
Yeah, I was seeing in the comments earlier, like people saying it should be Britt Baker. They haven't pulled the trigger on her yet. I think it's coming soon. She is going to get a title run at some point, but it looks like they're waiting on it just a little bit more before deciding to pull that trigger. Unlike the trigger they decided to pull with that new show for AEW Evolution, this is when they made the announcement that we're going to get Paul Wight next week Elevation. Sorry. Evolution, Revolution. It's all, tying in. Dark Elevation, which will be premiering on the 15th. They also announced that one of the qualifying matches for the Face of the Revolution ladder match is going to be 10 from the Dark Order versus Platinum Max Caster from the Acclaimed. And it leads to the main event of the evening. For a qualifying spot in that same ladder match, we had the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer, versus Rey Fenix. Man, Rey is the best.
This is a match of the year candidate right here. This match, dude, I always love seeing a big guy and a small guy go at it because not only Lance Archer is a big guy, but he is a big, agile guy. I mean, he does old school with a moonsault, for God's sakes. And then Rey Fenix just completely selling everything that he's doing, especially when he's getting whiplash into the barricade. It's great. I thought it was great.
Bro, like, how does Rey Fenix do some of the things that he does, man? Like from that dive, like flipping over, hitting. Not only did he hit Lance Archer, but he landed on his feet on the outside of the barricade. And in the spot later on, doing that dive from the ramp over Jake the Snake Roberts onto Lance Archer. Like, this guy is phenomenal. I thought both of these guys were going to be in that ladder match. And it sucks that we're only going to get one unless he happens to be the unannounced participant, because after this match, we now have Cody, Scorpio Sky, Penta El Cero M, Lance Archer, the winner of 10 and Max Caster, and the sixth person will be announced that night. So I'm hoping it's going to be Rey Fenix, and I hope he wins it because he deserves to be TNT champion much sooner rather than later. But like Adrian Harper Jr. saying in the chat, Lance Archer, future champion, he is a beast. I would not be surprised if he walks away from that ladder match as the winner to defeat Darby Allin. Man,
it's dude, I could see a huge future for Lance Archer right now just because of his performance tonight. So AEW for me tonight compared to last week, it felt a little bit flat on its face. Like I said, I was expecting to see Paul Wight. We didn't get to see Paul Wight. However, we got to see some badass matches with Lance Archer, and then we got to see some other stuff earlier in the night. I mean, so again, it wasn't a terrible episode, but it wasn't last week's episode.
We got to remember, Jose, they're setting up the Crossroads to Revolution because we're going to get Shaq and Jade Cargill going up against Cody and Red Velvet, which we all know who one of Shaq's opponents was in the WWE, and he's going to be making an appearance, his first appearance in AEW on Wednesday.
We'll finally get Shaq versus Big Show.
We're going to get Shaq versus Big Show, probably, because Jade did say she has a giant, and then she said it was Shaq. But, they're going to have another giant just in case Shaq doesn't actually make that match. So who knows what could happen next week. We're also going to get like a 10-man tag between Dark Order, Big Money Mafia, and Hybrid 2. So I think they're really putting more eggs in that basket because they really want to set up that go home show to Revolution, which is shaping out to be a crazy card no matter what. So hopefully next week they're really going to bring it back up.
Well, next week is the go home show to Revolution, but let's move on to NXT because NXT also saw some continuations of what's going on with the Undisputed Era. We got to see an awesome no DQ match with Karrion Kross and Santos Escobar. And what was her name? Zoe Stark, man, who made her NXT debut last week, had a one-on-one match with the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai, man. I mean, it was a pretty darn good show. So let's run this down. Let's start with what went down at the end of the show with Adam Cole vowing to explain what happened these last 2 weeks on NXT. He was looking at the playback of what happened of him, doing the brainbuster on Kyle O'Reilly and kick him in the face. And he explains that he's angry at Kyle for getting all these championship opportunities and failing at the championship opportunities. But then he says that he's ashamed of himself for what he did and apologized to Kyle looking directly at the camera. Roderick Strong comes out upset at Adam. He was like, yeah, you should be ashamed at yourself. And then in midst of Roderick Strong, while he's trying to nag at Adam Cole, Finn Balor comes out, goes straight to Cole. He shoves Roderick Strong away. He's like, get out of here, little kid. He goes straight to Adam Cole, starts, going at it with Cole. And then Roderick Strong comes to assist Adam Cole. And then all of a sudden, Roderick Strong clotheslines Adam Cole. And they're like, I'm sorry. And they're like, both apologizing to him. No, I'm sorry, bro. No, I'm sorry, bro. No, I'm sorry, bro. And then they hug it out, and Cole's crying. And then Cole just gives him one right between the legs to close out the show, man. Wow.
Oh, man.
I could say that the Undisputed is definitely disputed and is no more after this. I don't know. What do you think?
They're not okay. The whole time I was thinking, they're still okay. They're still okay. Undisputed Era is not okay. I was hoping it to be a double turn and have Roderick Strong be the bad influence on Adam Cole. Because it could have been Roderick Strong all along. But that didn't happen to be the case. That's a little reference for another show. Don't want to spoil that for you guys. But that just goes to show, like, good acting by Adam Cole. Like, he was really selling his, feeling sad, but it's funny watching him on Up, Up, Down.
Give him the primetime Emmy.
He is such like a cornball, he's a bit of a dork, like in real life, seeing him on Up, Up, Down, Down. But then you see him on NXT, and the way he can act and play this role to a T is amazing. Like, really selling. I was like, are they really going to go this angle? Are they going to go with like him, just in the heat of the moment? No. He had me believing for a second that he actually didn't completely turn and it was just make me in the heat of the moment. No, he suckered in Roderick Strong just like I got suckered in, and I felt the low blow to my heart the same way that Roderick Strong felt that low blow in the ring. So I'm interested to see how this is going to continue going forward with him.
Did you get a shot through the heart because you're too vain?
You give love a bad name, Jose.
So NXT started off with Johnny Gargano having a clash with Dexter Lumis, kind of trying to close off this chapter of this storyline. As you guys know, Dexter Lumis abducted Austin Theory a few weeks ago, and Austin Theory came back last week after Johnny Gargano saved him from the white van. Then Johnny Gargano had a match where Dexter Lumis actually won via submission due to silence, but during the match, Indy Hartwell was winking at Dexter Lumis. And then Austin Theory was handed a chair so he can attack Dexter Lumis. But then in a backstage promo, he's like, but why? Like, what did he do to you? He's kind of actually a nice guy. You just got to get to know him. And Indy Hartwell was like, yeah, and he's kind of hot too. So it looks like Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell. Well, Indy hasn't been, abducted by Dexter yet. But it looks like Austin Theory has a little Stockholm syndrome. And next week, both Indy and Austin Theory are going to therapy.
Right. He abducted her heart. That's what he did, Jose.
I am loving this. As corny as it sounds, I am loving this for the fact that Johnny Gargano just cracks me up. Johnny Gargano is like, what? You got Stockholm syndrome? What, you like? You know what? The both of you, you're going to therapy next week. He's just being like that real firm father figure for these two. And then Austin Theory, I don't know what Austin Theory is doing, because Austin Theory is like acting like a klutz kid. And I don't know if that's what he's meaning to do after being abducted. I don't know if that's what's supposed to happen with his character.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be naive youngster, essentially. Like, that's the idea of him being part of the way, is him learning and developing under Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. So he's playing that kind of like dumb jock pretty well at this point. But I can see that, once they decide to turn him more serious, like, you can see him mature. But as of now, we're going to see this side. And I think this role between Johnny and Austin Theory, especially playing their roles in this, is what's selling it. It's as goofy and as corny as it can be. Their delivery and their timing has been fantastic, and it's entertaining. So you could probably do this with other people and it wouldn't work. But with Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, and especially Candice LeRae, like, Indy's there. She hasn't really like stepped into the spotlight as much. But for the rest, like, they're the right people for this role to make it enjoyable.
Oh, completely agree. Now, one tag team that wasn't having a good night and not enjoying their night was MSK, because MSK was having an interview in the ring, or was it in the ring or was it backstage? I think it was backstage.
They were backstage, right?
Yeah, and they got interrupted by the grizzled young veterans who later on revealed that they actually got fined because of that, and that Wesley actually had a broken hand or broken arm from that attack. So they're not going to have their tag team championship match like they wanted. So Grizzled Young Veterans already calling out that they're going to be the ones to take the championships away from Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, and they should. They really should.
Especially to be recognized as NXT tag team champions.
Yeah, man. And dude, and they had a dominant match against Killian Dane and Drake Maverick tonight. So kudos to Grizzled Young Veterans. I always like seeing those guys. KZ
You're gonna be right, Jose. That means you're gonna be right. Grizzled Young Veterans are gonna get those NXT tag team titles before MSK. So you predicted that correctly. But now we're gonna have MSK take it from the Grizzled Young Veterans once Wesley's hand is recovered.
We'll see. Now, we did get to see KZ Catanzaro score off with Mortal Kombat Xia Li, who pretty much did a fatality on her today.
Poor
snapping her leg in half.
Bro.
God, how vicious has Xia Li gotten?
Just imagine if they could have done like an X-ray, like in Mortal Kombat. Just like zoom in and just showing a break and just zoom back out on her.
Oh, dude. They really should save those effects for Xia Li matches.
Only for her. Yeah.
Question from Bill Cash Joyce here. Thanks for joining us. What's up, fellas? Is it true that Big Show is on AEW? Yes, he is. And we talked about it at the top of the show. He will be a featured commentator on the new AEW Dark Elevation show that'll be airing on Monday nights at 7 on YouTube. So you guys can hear the Big Show, the artist formerly known as Big Show, now Paul Wight, on AEW Dark Elevation.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So KZ Catanzaro got a broken leg. Kaden tried to interfere, not interfere, but kind of get in Mei Ying's face. Boa wasn't having it, and she got taken out too, man. So Xia Li is on a different level. I've been saying this now for 3 weeks. Bro, she's on a different level, man.
They keep adding on to the entrance to it, and it's making it even more and more badass. Like you already know, it's about to go down. And then when she does her entrance, and she does her kata, at the beginning, she's about to wreck somebody, and they happen to be Casey this time.
As soon as Boa takes off the hat and she pulls out the fan, wham! You know it. You're done.
Kitana wins.
You're done. You're done. Absolutely love what they're doing with Xia Li. We'll see what happens. I think next week we're going to get Kaden and Xia Li. Now, we did have a promo for the WWE Women's Tag Team title match that's going to be going down next week. The same night of the go-home show of AEW Dynamite, we're going to have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler at the CWC going up against Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. And they, just showing the last couple of weeks of what happened between both of them, both teams, what happened last week between their interaction. Nia Jax has been on a roll, man. Nia Jax pinned the SmackDown Women's Champion, the Raw Women's Champion. Both women have been on all 3 brands for the last week. Respect to both women. Mm-hmm. Hate them or like them, you got to respect what they're doing. And they are the most dominant women tag team in WWE. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez got a hell of a mountain to climb next Wednesday. But early prediction, you want to take a crack at this?
Oh man, you go ahead first. You go first, Jose. I'll tell you.
Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are gonna make history, bro. They're gonna make history next Wednesday. They're gonna shock the world.
I want that to happen, Jose. I really do.
I'm gonna manifest it.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I think we're gonna see the beginning of the end of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I think this is gonna start a storyline where Raquel did all of the work. She did all the heavy lifting in the tournament. She had done all the work. And then come to this match, Dakota Kai is going to get pinned by Nia Jax, and she's going to get blamed. We did all of this to get to this spot, and you cost us this title. You cost us a chance to be on Raw and SmackDown and NXT representing the women's tag team division. I can't carry you anymore. I need to be I need to show what I can do by myself. I think this is going to show the cracks. It might not happen all one night, but I think this is going to be the beginning of the end of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez's tag team.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen because they really do make a good team. But yet, on the other hand, that wouldn't surprise me. But I kind of see that happening the other way around because remember what Dakota Kai did to Tegan Knox a year and a half ago. So she doesn't play well with others. So maybe if it goes down, it may be the other way around.
It could. But we have such a stacked women's division, which we even saw a new possible contender earlier on tonight. But we did have the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai take on Zoe Stark, like you said, who had a match last week, who showed off, amazing talent, continues to be an amazing talent. She went toe-to-toe with the women's champion, even though she did lose with the over the moonsault. And you had, of course, Toni Storm that came out to confront her. So just imagine the winner of Toni Storm, Io Shirai, facing Raquel Gonzalez for that NXT Women's Championship afterwards. So that's why I can say, I think they're going to push her a little sooner because I think we both see all the big money that they can get from Raquel to see her on Raw or SmackDown sooner rather than later. You want to give her that extra credibility. Yes, you can win the Dusty Cup, but have her win one good run with the NXT title. The women's title is going to be great for her. So I can see this happening much sooner rather than later.
Adrian Harper, Nia will fall on her hold. They didn't even mention that this week. It looks like it died down already.
The meme ended the same like with the Bernie Mittens meme. It all has its course, and it all takes its course.
Now, someone's course that ran tonight was one Santos Escobar in that no DQ match against Karrion Kross, man. Wow. It started in the NXT parking lot, and it's true what they say about the NXT parking lot. It's not safe there.
It's dangerous as hell, bro. It is
dangerous as hell.
You have those side view mirrors being ripped off by this man's by his bare hands bro.
And then there's a pickaxe
stabbing the door just to get to Santos. Bro, I do not want to get on Karrion Kross's bad side. If that's how he's going to react, get out of here.
Not so. The whole thing turned into a 3-on-1 situation in the outside. Legado beats down on Kross. They drag him inside the CWC. Kross regains a little bit of energy, and he takes out Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde by throwing them through the plexiglass into the in-ring area. And you just see the face of disbelief on Santos's face, which is great because he just completely sold exactly what he was doing. But man, let's talk about that spot where Kross delivers Escobar a Saito Doomsday suplex through the announce table. It looks so beautiful.
This is the kind of stuff we need to be seeing from Karrion
Kross. Is a badass. Yes, Adrian Harper, I agree with you.
The only thing is, and I get they want to have an impactful move, but
for some reason now that they're pushing him as a babyface, he feels even more badass. How can you even be more badass as a babyface, bro?
Like the Jon Moxley of NXT, basically. That's what they're kind of going like.
No, this is on a different level, bro. This is on a different level than Jon Moxley.
But the only thing his new finisher hasn't grown on me. The hidden blade.
Nah,
it's impactful.
He should stay with the cross jacket.
It feels weird when you're just, it works for Will Ospreay, but he's normally doing it on a seated opponent. But this time he did it while Santos was standing, and so you're basically just running, and then just using your forearm right across the back of the neck. So
it's a bullhammer, but it's a bullhammer.
Yeah, it just so I don't know. That one hasn't grown on me as much. The Doomsday Saito is amazing. I like the cross jacket when it's done correctly. When the person taking it is in the right position and their arm is actually being trapped like a straight jacket. I like that. So I don't know if they're going to stick with it or at least have it that it's done on a downed opponent as opposed to just a standing one. Because then it looks just like you said. It looks like Wade Barrett's bullhammer without the winding up to begin with. So
So what's next for Kross, man? So now that Santos is in the rearview mirror, does he go back to what he never lost, his NXT championship? Does he put himself up against Finn Balor? Does he get in front of the line, skip over Adam Cole, or do we see a triple threat match at WrestleMania, Adam Cole, Karrion Kross, Finn Balor for the championship?
At this point, anything can happen. I don't even know, because it seems like there's so many storylines going on right now with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly, who he wasn't medically cleared. With Adam Cole, you have the opportunity of a Karrion Kross that never lost the title. Unless the feud continues with Karrion and Santos Escobar, like, he's going to be kind of in a holding pattern unless they decide to do that.
Yeah,
and it could happen.
But you can't. Oh, but that's just going to be a destination with no end, because what's the end game here for Kross and Escobar? Because you can't put the cruiserweight title on Kross because he's not a cruiserweight. He's not a cruiserweight, so you can't put the. So if he had maybe the North American Championship, then maybe that'll put some meaning behind it. But right now, as is, rearview mirror. That's for me. That's what it is. Rearview mirror. You're done. I'm going to my next destination, which should be the NXT Championship. I hope we can see that triple threat match. I think that makes perfect sense.
It just seems that that's so crowded right now, and at least with the North American Championship, like, we already had Gargano and Kushida. Now it seems like we could possibly get Loomis versus Gargano for that title,
which we should have gotten like 6 months ago.
But I would not mind a program between Johnny Gargano and Karrion Kross. Like, I think that would be another good matchup.
Oh my god!
But it feels
Gargano would get murdered,
destroyed. But I feel like that's, that'd be like a holding pattern, because he deserves to be in the NXT Championship picture. The only other thing I can think of is Ciampa and Thatcher need to come back at some point. Like, you can have a few with Ciampa, but if they don't want to crowd that division, like the upper card right now, because of Adam Cole, Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly. So if they want to do that, that's an option. But yeah, he deserves to be.
I completely agree.
Anything is possible right now in the WWE. So
listen, anything is possible in wrestling. We just saw the Big Show last month at Raw Legends Night, and all of a sudden he's on AEW. So anything can happen in the world of pro wrestling.
You know what? It's going to be a furious 5-way match, man. They're going to put everybody in the NXT Championship picture at WrestleMania.
Everybody. A big spot fest, which I'm okay with.
I'd be fine with it. Yeah.
Well, guys, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. That is it for our show. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms here on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, notification bell, so you never ever miss a live stream, a post, or breaking news. So that is it for tonight. For Rico El Glorioso, I'm your host, Jose G. We'll see you guys next week with everything you need to know NXT and AEW wise. That's it for tonight, guys. Have a good night.
Later, guys.